And it was Straightsmile Solutions, straightsmilesolutions.com, and this is just going to be another expander video. There is a lot of expander videos that I have. As a matter of fact, if you want to watch them all, you can go into my YouTube channel, which is Straightsmile Solutions, or my Phase 1 course. But the YouTube channel is free, and just put in keywords like RPE or Schwartz or expander, rapid, slow, things like that, and you can watch all my videos on that. But I wanted to just do a quick high-level overview because a lot of you are still asking, should I do removable? Should I do fixed? Should I do fast turns? Should I do slow turns? And I think especially now with the Align Technology Expander coming out, and I just made a video on that yesterday, this is coming up a little bit more frequently. So I just wanted to hit some high-level points, and then if you want to go more into details into my other videos, you can, or into my course. But and if you want to access the course, it's available at straightsmilesolutions.com. Go to classes. Also, I highly recommend the course by Dr. Simon Wong. He is a mentor of mine. Yes, I do have mentors. He's from Australia. I started following him a while ago on the whole postural orthodontics / orthotropics community, just really getting into developing faces and focusing on developing faces and airways over straight teeth. I mean, straight teeth are going to happen if you do that, but too many doctors are focused just on the teeth and not on the face, and just getting really started at 2, 3, 4, 5 things you can do. So I highly would recommend his course. I've taken his digital course, which is all the modules. It's about 30 hours. It was a fair amount. It took me a few months. And I'm excited that I'll be taking his live course, just like any other doctor, in September. I think it's the last weekend in September in New Jersey, right outside New York. It's not my course, but I did throw it on my website just because they're giving me an opportunity to speak on finishing, which I'm really excited and honored to get to do. And I will be there. So hopefully we'll get to meet you there. Anyway, so let's talk about some of the high points here. So obviously you've got fixed versus removable. And ever since the fixed versus removable options came out, now there's also 3D printed fixed, which is kind of a big deal. A lot of people are loving that. It's a little bit more expensive, but it kind of drops in like an onlay. So it's like basically custom made. So there's no fitting bands, there's no spacers, there's no stinky plaque tracks, there's no infections of the gums, there's no discomfort. It just drops right on the teeth, custom, and you bond it. It's chemical retention, not mechanical retention from bands. But really those bands I really believe that they provide a constant bacteremia sepsis into the gums. I do not like bands at all on patients if I can avoid them, and it's always my last choice. So I love removable things, but not all patients are going to wear removable, and obviously you need to get to know your patient. You need to talk to them a little bit more about their lifestyle, what they do, what they expect. I get best luck with removable in a patient who's 6, 7, 8, and that's about it. Beyond that, I'm gonna obviously usually past about 8, they're in this kind of really busy period where they're losing teeth like crazy. They're losing the C's, the D's, the E's, new teeth are coming in. So that's not going to work for removable. It's all about treatment timing. You have to look at the PANO or the OPG, see if any teeth are going to fall out during the course of treatment, which normally is about 6 months-ish, possibly more, depending on how compliant they are. I like to give an extra few months just in case they aren't. So as long as I think that no teeth are going to fall out during that period, then removable might be an option. Also, I do better with 2nd and 3rd graders with removable because they think removables are fun and they can just color them and put decals on them and glitter and sparkle, and they think it's really fun to wear them to school, and they think it's fun to talk funny. And I desperately wanted to have a removable retainer in 3rd grade, so much so that I made one with paper clips and now and laters and wore it to school. I begged my parents to get me a retainer. I didn't know the difference between a retainer and an expander, but something that I could wear. So yeah, 2nd, 3rd grade, maybe even 4th grade. I go by grades, not age. Beyond that, they're going to get teased. It's not going to get worn during school. I'm sorry. No patient is going to wear it. It's just not going to happen. So don't bother. Don't bother. If they really want something removable, then do the Invisalign branded one. That would be my suggestion. At least they have an expander. Okay, so that's my fixed versus removable thing. I do prefer the 3D printed. There's plenty of 3D printed, metal 3D printing going on in the US. I'm happy to introduce you. I get no kickback from this, but you can just Google it, 3D printed RPE, your country. Certainly a lot more in the US. I think there is some in Canada, although my Canadian people are saying it's hard to find. But I'm sure it'll come more. Price point is a little bit more expensive, but then again, the comfort is way better. It's healthier for the gums. No spacers, which saves you time. So I think it's worth it. All the feedback I've gotten has been really positive. Everybody loves the 3D printed ones. And of course, now we have Invisalign Expander, which is upper only. All right, so that covered fixed versus removable. That covered, the different types of fixed. Now we can talk about turn frequency, rapid versus slow. All right. I'm more of a slow person. Of course, a lot of this is going to depend on the skeletal maturity, when puberty is. Obviously, if the patient is post-pubertal, I'm going to go extra slow, at least initially. And also depends on accountability loop, compliance, how frequently you can get them in the office. I've just seen way too many catastrophes where they were on rapid. People, they forgot about the patient's appointments, got canceled, for whatever reason, whether it was the doctor's fault or the patient's fault or the parent's fault, and turns kept happening, and the side effects were absolutely tremendous. Just catastrophic side effects, hemorrhaging. I mean, I don't know that I know anyone that died, but I know a lot of kids that were put in the ER and had severe malocclusion problems and severe defects caused because of this. These weren't me, but these were like offices that maybe I filled in on, and I came in, I was like, what the hell happened here? I've seen some really scary damage done by RPEs that were done on turn. So it really depends on your patient community. So I don't like to prescribe a ton of turns, at least initially. Do a little bit, see how they react, see if there's any side effects. I've had patients that have had polyps in their nose that we didn't know about, and once you started turning, they started hemorrhaging. I mean, patients, you gotta remember that the roof of the mouth is the floor of the nose, which is connected to the brain, right? So if something goes wrong in their pathology that you don't know about, and you're basically cracking the bones in the maxilla, bad things can happen, and it will happen occasionally. And so if you're just prescribing rapid and you don't have a solid accountability loop, I mean, if I had a patient on rapid and they didn't show up after a week or so, or 2 weeks max, whatever I put, I would freaking be at their house knocking on the door. I would be sending certified letters that day. I mean, the risks are just too big for you for patient abandonment. And you guys too often have too many patients and you forget who's been prescribed rapid. Maybe they canceled and rescheduled their appointment. That cannot happen. So you have to make this crystal clear to the parents is, look, we are literally breaking your child's jaw. It's not going to hurt, but occasionally there can be side effects. You must come in for this recall appointment in 2 weeks. If you do not show up, or if you put an alert on their chart saying if they cancel, if they reschedule, if they no show, we start the sequence of certified letters. We start the sequence of phone calls. We start not just a phone call and an email. I mean, like literally you must come in. So, and that's why I really like to have an accountability loop with a virtual monitoring system. I think these patients should be on that. I think every one of the rapid patients should be on a virtual monitoring system, whether you use one of these ones like In-Hand Dental, DM, Grin, or if you create your own in-house HIPAA compliant one, which I don't necessarily recommend doing, but some of you are doing it. As long as it's HIPAA compliant, I don't care. But at least if you have that set up, then there's a way, if they got sick or something, there's a way they can still check in. But that's my thing about rapid versus slow. Rapid maybe, and rapid's not gonna work if you've got upper and lower going, and a lot of you guys are skipping the lower and just doing upper, which if there's zero crowding on the bottom and there's no curve of Wilson, then that is totally fine. You can skip the upper, but most of the time, if you have a constricted upper, you also have a constricted lower. And if you're in mixed dentition, it just really benefits the patient to also upright the curve of Wilson, make some space on the lower, because if you do, otherwise you're gonna end up in a buccal cross bite or a Brody bite, and you're never gonna have a weird bite, or you're never gonna be able to finish turning to the right amount, which means you're gonna still be constricted, which means there's still gonna be crowding, means there's still gonna be risks of impactions. And that really, what's the point of phase one if you're not going to do it right? You need to take your arches to the point where there's almost gaps, where there's almost extra space, upper and lower. So that way the teeth have freedom to come in straight to begin with. And guess what? The extra space closes on its own over time. And so you have 2 millimeters of extra space. You can finish that in phase 2. That is not a problem. And it might not even be a problem. It might just close up on its own. So that's why upper and lower together. I'm a huge fan of lower expansion. Now, it doesn't have to be an expander. You could do it with aligners at the same time as an upper expander. You could do it with braces at the same time as an upper expander, but you can't do it fast. So also, if you do fast expansion, you get that super ugly gap between 8 and 9. I mean, just so ugly. Patients hate it. Yes, you could do braces at the same time and start closing it, and there's nothing wrong with that, but patients just hate the ugly gap. So I just don't see the point. You might as well just take a little more time, have fewer side effects, have less discomfort, have less risk, have fewer risks. and not have an ugly gap. And just teeth will slowly, that are crowded, will just start to straighten up on their own if you go slow. Once you give them more freedom of movement, they start to straighten up and they start looking a lot better. So, all right, that was a lot of information. Hopefully that helped you. Thanks.